Hi, this is Richard and welcome to our barrel bag class. This is an intermediate class. I would hope that you've taken a couple of beginning classes before you've gotten to the point of doing a recess. There are certain things that I did not go over in this, and which would be making straps and attaching straps, because I think at this point you should know how you want to do your straps. This bag is basically teaching you again a recessed sides or bottom. You can turn the bag this way or on your side. It gives you a lot of options. It helps you keep on the edge. Your bag sits on the edge like that, or it can be round like this. So you might want a little recessed bottom as a style. It also teaches you how to make your little window here for your top and applique over your zipper. It's going to teach you how to put your lining in a circular bag, which is a little different than you would do in a normal bag. We're also going to go over, we're going to make these little appliques for you and show you how to do that. And those are the things that you're basically going to learn in this class and that you can apply to other bags as you go forward in your designs. So without further ado, we're going to go go make a bag. That's what we're getting ready to do. So let's go make a bag. Okay, I just want to take a second to go over some of the materials that you're going to need, or tools. You can make this bag out of fabric or leather. I'm going to suggest that you make the bag out of fabric. It's going to be easier for you, and you will not have to worry too much about thicknesses. I made it out of leather because I got a lot of leather hanging around, and it was just easier for me to do. But with that said, I want to go over some of the tools that you're going to need to make your bag. You're going to need some scissors, of course, clips, and all, some glue. I get this at the art supply store. Best test is the rubber cement. Don't get the paper cement because it won't hold. You're going to need a knife, or an X-Acto knife like this. You're going to need a bone or a butter knife that I love to use. You're going to use that. You're going to need some 014 flex. You're going to be making your stays and your appliques out of that. Of course, some scissors, some clips to hold your work together, and an awl. You may need a compass to make your round circular endpoints there, or you may want to use a big old saucer or a thing of masking tape to get your circle. So those, I got a silver pen. If you do decide to use leather and you want to mark, see if you have a silver pen. And that's really about it, a mechanical pen to make our pattern. You're also going to need to get yourself some pattern paper to make your pattern out of. And here's the pattern of the bag we've just made, the outside, the master, the outside, and the lining pattern. And so you're going to need some oak tag, and I get that at Sotra. So you may want to check them out. That's where I get mine at. And you may want to get this oak tag. If not, get oak tag. You can use some poster board. Well, not poster board, but just the regular, poster board that you can buy at your local CVS or pharmacy or Walmart or wherever you want to get that stuff from. So that's what you need, something to make your pattern out of, and you need these tools here. You're going to need some glue, and with those tools we can make the bag the barrel bag that we are going to be making today. Okay? Elements out of it. So we're just going to go ahead and start, and when you're starting your barrel bag, the very first piece you're going to have to make is your round side, because it's going to dictate the shape of the bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a piece of pattern paper, and we're going to go ahead and cross score it. so that it's symmetrical, so that we know it's symmetrical. And the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and do my score here. Okay. And then straighten my top edge. I like to do it, but you don't, in this particular one, you're cross scoring like that. You really don't, and I'll have to do that, and I'll show you why in just a minute here. And see, because this is your next move, you're going to go ahead and pin it in the middle, or thereabouts the middle, and then you're going to score again. Okay. Now we have our cross score. And the way you check your cross score is that after you've scored it, you take your awl and you just pin it a little bit. And if your score, like this one is not, stop. Stop. The first thing we need to do in making our barrel bag is to make our circle or oval. That's going to determine the shape, as I had said before. So, for the first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and score our pattern paper, piece of oak tag, and then we're going to score again. And what we're going to look for here is approximately the middle. Okay. And then we're going to score again. And you check your score by simply pinning it just a touch in the middle and see if it's on your other score line going through. And in this case it is. Now from the middle, I guess I want to start to work with, let's see what the best we can get here is about a 3. So I'm going to measure 3 inches out from my middle fold. And then, actually, I'm just going to fold it down, pin again, fold it back, and cut. Okay. Then I'm going to fold this way, and from the center fold, measure out again 3 inches. And again, make my pin hole, pin again, go back, and cut. And with any luck, I have 6 inches this way and 6 inches this way. So now that we have our symmetrical piece of pattern paper, what we want to do is to make our circle for our oval. And what I've got my compass here, and you could take whatever you need to make your shape for your oval. And because this is in 4 sections, I'm just going to put this right here in the middle, and then I'm just going to go like this, and this is going to be my circle. I'm going to then fold it and cut. Remember, always keep your fingers out of the way of your blade in case you slip. You don't want to cut your fingers off. And then I'm going to fold again and try to stay in this line here. And this is going to give us our oval for our bag. And this is, we're going to mark it master, cut, oops, cut 2, because your bag is going to be like this, so you need 2 pieces. And this can either be your fabric, depending on what, or your leather. And this is going to, you're going to name your bag, and in this case I'm just going to make it my barrel bag. And then I'm going to notch each of my corners of my pattern, and it makes it easier to line up on the scores. And this is the very first piece of our pattern. Now the next thing we need to do is to make our top. There's a top and there's a bottom to our bag, so we need to make that. And what we need to do to make that is to walk the pattern. I'm going to cut a piece of pattern paper, in this particular case I'm going to fold it, I'm going to score it, okay. And we're going to straighten one edge. Hopefully I have enough paper. If not, I'll have to cut another piece and start all over. But I think I do to get the measurement I need. Okay, so we're going to cut and get it lined up. Cut here, line up our pinholes and cut. And hopefully we have enough to walk the pattern. But I'm not thinking that we do. But we do have enough to get a measurement, so that's what we're going to do. And as usual, this is how we walk our pattern. So we can get in here close so you can see this. And what you're doing is making sure that your pattern piece and your edge here are flush. And then you're going to take your awl, pin it, and start to move your circle or your oval, keeping it flush with the top straight edge of your pattern. And this is how we're getting our true measurement as to what it is to go around this circle. And we're going to go to the next notch. And from that notch, we're going to be able to get our measurement. Okay, so you carefully go around and measure. Just like that. And then when you get to your notch, you pin. Okay? Now this distance is 2 pieces halfway around. Okay? So that's about 4 3/16, making our piece 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7/16, 8 and 7/16. Now what we want to do, we got that measurement and we want 2 pieces. So now we need to determine the length from this pin here, how long we want our bag to be. And this is entirely up to you at this point. I'm going to make it, I don't know, let's make it Make this 12 inches long. I'm going to measure down 12 and pen and cut. Okay. Go back up here. Let's measure this. That's 4 and about 9/16. Then we're going to go 4 and okay. I got about 9/16 there. And I got my pin mark already there. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cut right here. And now we have the length of our bag and half the circumference. This is the first part. This is going to be our top part. And because it's our top part, what I'm going to do now is find the middle. I'm going to find the middle. Got 12. So let's mark it 6. 12. Mark it 6. And then I'm going to score. Okay. Now, I'm going to need to put in details of my bag. Now, one of the first things I need to do here is really mentally get a hold of the design. Now, the first thing I really want to do is do my contrast. I told you I was going to show you how to do the contrast. And what we're going to do is come out here and measure out like a 1/2 inch. And we're going to go ahead and pin. And then we're going to fold down and pin again. And we're going to draw a line. And this line is going to be our contrast. Because later on in the pattern, we're going to cut this off and make a separate pattern piece for it. And we're also going to do it over here too. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to go ahead and label out my pattern here. I want to make sure I label it out. And this is my barrel bag, and this is a master pattern, because your master pattern represents the size that your bag is going to come out. So this is your master, and you're going to cut 2, and one is going to be the top and one is going to be the bottom. And this is going to be the fabric, and if it's fabric, you may want to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If it's leather, you can stay with a 3/8 or leather. Okay, now we've cross-scored our pattern here, and one of the reasons we wanted to do that was so that we have our zipper in the middle. We're going to put a zipper here as our opening, here, and we're going to make a collar for it, and we're going to place it in there so it's going to be nice and clean. And what we're going to do here is I got a zipper, and I'm going to show you how to make this, and we're going to fit it right in there like that. And this is where our zipper is going to be. And then we're going to have our applique, and I have one already made, but I'm still going to show you how to make it. And what we want to do there is, when we get this in place, we want to go ahead and trace out where we want our handles to be. Okay? And so now we trace out where we want our handles to be, and this is where we're going to trace out to where we want our zipper to be. And this is really going to be like a zipper holder sort of thing, and I'm going to show you how that's going to come out. Okay, so we're just going to do that, and then I'll complete that drawing there in a minute. So this is, I'm going to have my loops here for my handles. I'm just going to use a simple O-ring, and so what I'm going to do is, this not perfectly straight, let me get that straight. And what I'm going to do is just basically pin where it's going to go. These loops are going to go, and then I'm going to just transfer that all around. Okay, since I have 4, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure they're there. They're there. And ta-da, ta-da. And this is where my handle loops are going to go. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to make your handle loops and this little zipper holder here in just a moment here. But I just want to give you an idea of how you're going to set your pattern up or your bag up. Okay? And that's what we're going to do. So now you know exactly where everything is going to be. Okay. Okay. There. Okay. Now, let's make this inside part of this. Okay. And what you do there is you'll fold this and say that you want this opening here. Say you want this opening to be 3/8 of an inch, or say 1/2 inch, right? So what you would do is you fold your paper like this, and then you measure down, say 1/4 of an inch if you really wanted it 1/2 inch, and you would pin. Take your pen and then you draw your lines. Now you can make this opening to fit really as snugly as you want on your zipper. But that was just so, and this is what you end up with here, right here. Okay? And this is what you end up here. And your zipper is going to fit right into there. Okay? So now you have your placement pretty much for all the elements of your bag. You have your contrast over here. Okay. Okay, you have your zipper holder, and this is where your zipper is going to go. And you also have your handle loops. Now, anything else that you can think of that you want to put on your bag, this is the time that you put it on your pattern. This is your master pattern. This is your working pattern. You're going to be working from this pattern, okay? And now the next thing we want to do is I want to show you how to make one of these zipper holders. So, the very first thing we're going to do is score our paper. You really want to make sure you get it as much in the middle as you can so you have enough paper and you don't waste pattern paper like I do constantly. Then we're going to go ahead and straighten our edge. But you know what? We want this to be symmetrical, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is try to find the middle again. And I'm going to just try to even this bad boy out to where I have something to work with here. Okay. We'll go ahead and check that. Looks good. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and bend. First I'm going to go, let me see, how far do we want this? We want our, let me make sure, we wanted that to be a 9-inch zipper. So we want that to be a 9-inch zipper in there, a 9.5. Well, it's about a 9.5 inch zipper. So I'm going to go out from the middle. 4, 9, 9, and 1/8 right there. Okay. And again, and I'm going to draw my lines. Okay. Now I want to go down. What I want now is how much room here I want to play with, okay? How wide I want this to be, okay? So I'm going to make my width this time about 3/8. We'll go down 3/8 and pin again. Line up my pinholes. Okay. Now I need to decide my length again. And I'm going to take my old measurement here. And let's see, that's 1, 2, 4 3/4. So we're going to go out 4 3/4. Should be about right there. Then I'm going to fold it and go there, and then go hopefully there. I hope I didn't lose it in my transition. And then hold up, let me make sure of something. Okay, no, now I want to do my little thing here to give myself some play. I'm going to, say, do something like this. Just give myself some play. And you come out with something like this, and then you simply cut it out. And what you do is that you keep these windows and you make them standard size, so that as you go from bag to bag, you don't have to remake windows all the time. You can just kind of use the ones that you already have. And so that's kind of what you want to do there too. So make them like 7, 9, 11, 13, kind of a standard size. And so that's pretty much what you get. I can round off my edges here to get a little bit better. And like that, get a little bit better shape. And that's pretty much what you want to do. Now, and I'll look do it again here. Get my shape. I'll round it off here. And get some shape. So there you go. There you go. And then you get this piece here, and this is going to be your cover for your zipper on the outside. Okay. There you go. And the next piece we have to do is our tab. And our tabs are real simple. What you basically do, grab yourself another piece of pattern paper, and get rid of this. Grab yourself another piece of pattern paper, score, and then you just simply make the shape that you want for your. You can also do your in the middle here. Grab that. So that your piece is symmetrical. Okay. Take your piece here. No, don't do that. What you can do is just simply try to, what you're trying to do is this is going to be your handle loop. This is going to be your sewing area. You're going to have a certain amount of sewing area. This part here, this finished part, is going to be going through your handle loop. So you want to account, you want a shape that's going to go through your handle loop. And so at this point, mine is about 3/4 of an inch. So I need that shape that's going to go through the handle loop. And so how I'm going to do that is just go start right here. Oops. Start right here, and I can flare it out or make any shape at this point that you want. And then whatever you do, just flare it out so that you have some sewing area. And you really want to think about where you're going to be sewing at. Remember, this is going to be a stay, and I'm going to show you what a stay is later on. And you're going to be sewing. So you really want to make sure that you have sewing areas. So you need to really know your machine. Okay, and so I'm just going to do something like that just to kind of give you an idea. And then what you want to do is just go ahead and cut that. And then what we're going to do is fold it down like this and continue our cut on the other side. I want to be careful now. Okay. I'm going to go around like this. Oops. There. I can change my blade here. A little dull. But anyway, there we go. And this is your applique for your handle loops. So now remember, you can make this in any shape that you want. You're not following my designs, you're just following the techniques that I'm using. And they apply across the board. So what we've done to this point, we've made our Windows zipper holder and our appliques. And when we come back, we're going to cut off our contrast here and start to make our outside patterns. Okay, we need to do our outside patterns now. And so I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to do our outside circle and make our outside pattern. So the very first thing we're going to do here is just line this up using our notches. Pretty much just like that. Just make sure that it's all lined up. Just use your notches to line it up. And then you go ahead and trace. Okay. And now, when you're making your outside pattern, I guess the tradition will be, if you've got fabric, it's a 1/2 inch. If you have leather, it's 3/8 of an inch. And I'm just really used to doing 3/8 of an inch no matter what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do 3/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to go from basic, I'm just going to go all the way around it. One side. I could have did it in quarters, but I'm not going to go ahead and cross score it, so I'm just going to continue around and pin my 3/8 as I go around. Okay, and we're just about finished. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold that and then give it a little trace. This is my outside seam allowance. So this doesn't have to be a perfect cut. You get it as close as you can. It's going to be maybe a little jagged. There. And push this to the side. And here's your outside circle. And these are our ends, however you want to call it. You're going to cut 2. Okay. And you'll probably have to do some clipping too along this, so just to indicate. And here is your master. So you have your master now, and you have your outside. Okay, and you're going to do that. We're going to do one more, and I think at that point you'll get the idea that you need to do this to get your outside pattern with all your pieces. So I'm not going to make every piece of the outside pattern in front of you, but you should understand that you have to do the same technique to each pattern piece. Okay, so we're going to do one more. Get your straight edge. Fold. And as you can see, when you're making a pattern, it's like almost like a lock. You know, you make your master, you make your outside, and you make your lining. And as I said, it's 3/8 or 1/2 inch, depending on what type of material you're using. And then when you get to your lining, it becomes just a 1/16 or so smaller than your outside. So now what we're going to do is, here, let me notch this. And again, like I always say, it's real critical to notch your patterns for alignment and for placement of items. You know. Like I've seen people just go like this to get the placement of their hardware. Right? So the handle loop is going to, go through there. So, or that's where it's going to end up. That's going to be the top of it at best. And so they just repeat that, and then you know where stuff is. Okay. So, now the first thing we're going to do though, before we make our outside pattern to this, is before I skipped ahead here and forgotten, I need to break this pattern up for you. And the very first thing I'm going to do is cut these off. Now this is my contrast. And when I cut these off, it's going to become, gives me an opportunity to design, because now I can make these a different color, a different material, whatever. And as you can see, with this being a 4, having this divided in 4, you can cut each one of these pieces out and do an outside pattern, put it back together as this, put your zipper on top, and you have another design there. So breaking your pattern up, however you cut it, you're always going to come back to doing your master, doing your outside, and then and as far as the lining is concerned, you don't have to worry for that because that's not involved in being cut. So now we have these, and so now what we need to do is continue to make an outside. And I'll make this big piece here an outside, and then you guys can make, and actually I'll show you and then how to make this too as an outside too. So let me do my notches. And then I got my straight edge. I'm going to measure down. I wanted my seam allowance to be 3/8, so I'm going to measure down to 3/8, pin, and unfold. Okay. I'm going to take my notch and line it up. Right up there against that line. Spin this around a little bit where I got some control. Whoops. Slipped. Okay. Notch. Notches are in place. Then I'm just going to pin 3/8 out. Okay. Then I'm going to come down here and pin 3/8. Go ahead and get my cut. Line up my pinholes. Just go to the side. Unfold. Line up my pinholes. Okay. And I should have my outside. And there you go. And that's how you do that. So you're going to do that to each pattern piece. And again, don't forget the notch. And don't forget to... Now another thing that you do on your outside, you can notch your pattern in this way. And this allows you to know where you're sewing. It really does. It helps a lot to keep everything in alignment, because you're matching up notches. And you do that pretty much all the way around. And you'll see that when you do this, it'll help you keep your bag symmetrical when you're sewing it, and know that everything is fitting properly. Well, I guess this is about 3/8. I'm pretty good at knowing where 3/8 is. About right here. Okay. And that's how your pattern should look. And this tells you this is where your seam is, and this is where this should come in. And if you look, you'll see that this is how it goes. This is going to be where you stitch right along there. And so these notches help you with that. So you need to go ahead and do that with all of your pieces. And I'm just going to clean up my area here, and when I come back we'll go over the pieces that I've done. And then as a special treat, we may even be able to, and I'm going to hesitate here in case I have to cut this out, have Linda do the lining for us, okay? So that'll be a special treat, right? To see my dear wife come in and show you how to do the linings, and she's an expert with her linings, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, I just quickly want to go over where you should be at this point in our barrel bag. Okay, here, let me grab my little example bag here. You should, here's your, okay, let's start with your master. Here's your, you need to have your master. This is a cut 2. This is your top and your bottom. You should also have your outside pattern done. You should have your circle done. You got your circle, and this part here, this is 2 pieces. That's these 2 pieces here. Okay, now, on your circle, you should have your master done, and your outside. Okay? Now, on your applique on the top to hold your zipper, you should have your stay, and this is going to be your stay. You're going to be cutting this out of maybe an 020, and this is going to be your outside material. Okay, and we're going to show you how to put this on your bag and to prep that properly. So you should have that. So you have these 2 now. On your sides here, these are your contrasts right here. Let me put this down on my hand. Here's your contrast right here. Here you should cut 4. And why 4? There's 2 on the bottom and there's 2 inside. I mean 2 here, 2 there. So you need 4 pieces. So you're cutting 4 of these and 4 stays, okay? And that's where you should be in your pattern development at this point. These are the elements you should have. You have your handle loops, you have your zippers, and you have your round edges, and you also have, because this is going to be recessed, so we're going to have a recess, and this is going to be a nice little lip. So, and this is going to be able to help you sew, around the bag as you go. So we're going to do that, and that's where you need to be. Now the next thing we need to do is our lining pattern. And our lining pattern is going to be a little different because you're going to have to put your zippers and make your pockets. And to do that part of this class, I'm going to bring in my better second half is Linda, and she's going to come in and do the lining for you and show you how to do that. And so when she's finished, I'll be back and we'll start to put the bag together.
Hi, this is Linda, and I'm going to show you how to make the lining for the barrel bag. Okay, so what we do is we start with a new piece of pattern paper, and I'm just going to score it. And we're doing a cross score, like we did with the outside pattern and master pattern. So you pin in around the middle of that piece. Open your paper and score. Okay, so I have the paper scored now, and we always do that little test where we pin it to make sure our scoring is correct. Yeah, it lined up perfectly. Okay, and then what I do is take, this is the outside pattern that Richard made for the barrel bag, and what the lining is, all it is 1/16 smaller than the outside. So what I'm going to do is line up the scores right there. and pin. I'm just going to pin where the actual side is. I'm just starting with the outside, and then fold it, and then I'm going to measure 1/16 in from that measurement. Okay, you open it and then score again. I mean, not score, pin. Okay, so you have that 1/16 inside. Then you fold your paper. Now you'll have the two pins to line up and cut. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the sides. Cutting through both layers. Okay, so that's the side, and then see how it's 1/16 smaller. So the top also, I'm going to do the same thing. I turn my paper this way, and that's the actual edge of where the outside pattern is, but I'm going in 1/16. So going in 1/16, pin, fold over, pin, open the paper, and then I'll have both of those pins that I can cut between, and that'll give me the 1/16 inch smaller on the top and bottom. Okay, so, and then you notch your centers. That always helps with your alignment of the bag. You do any place that's the middle of something is good to notch it, because you can line stuff up better. Okay, so this is the 1/16 inch smaller than that other side, and you're going to have, I have to mark it. This is a lining, and you cut two of these. One will be the top and one will be the bottom. So you say cut two, and on one of them, because you're going to have that zipper on the top, you want to mark where your zipper is going to go also. So that's the 9-inch zipper that we were talking about, and I just pin in 4.5 inches there to get that mark. And you can just basically draw a line here between those two pins. That represents where your zipper is going to go. And then you're going to be putting a window here, and then we're going to show you how to attach that zipper, and then eventually attach to the rest of the bag. So you can mark this. This is the top zipper. Okay, and then as far as this is the side piece, you do the same thing where you have to cut this 1/16 inch smaller. So I have to find a piece of paper that will be that I can use. Okay, so I just cut a piece, and I'm going to do the same cross scoring as before. Straighten out your paper, cross score. There's around the middle of the paper, cross score. Okay. Test your scoring, see if it's matching. Yep, it's lining up. Okay. So this is, I'm just gonna align this circle here. Richard had his little notch. He actually didn't. He marked his notch, but he didn't actually notch it. There it is, it's the notch, and there should be two over here. Okay. And so you take the notches really help, and you can align these two notches together. And then you can just basically trace 1/4 of this circle. There. And then you're going to go 1/16 inside. I'm going to kind of eyeball this, but you can measure. You can take your ruler and really measure. But I kind of know what a 1/16 is, so I just lightly pencil that in. Okay, and then I'm going to cut on that line. Okay, see you have one side already all the way cut. Open it up. And then you can just draw and then cut, or you can be bold and kind of cut all the way. But I'm just going to do it the way most people do it. So you cut on your pencil line. Okay, this got a little sharp here. Okay, and then there you also do your notching for each perpendicular part of your bag, so that you can line stuff up when you're sewing. Okay, so I'm marking this. This is the these are the sides. This is called this is the barrel bag. Sides, lining, cut 2. And that's all there is to the lining pattern. And the next thing I do is cut out 2 of these and 2 of these, and then I have to prepare some windows for the zipper here. Oh, also, you know what? There's a pocket in here that I'm going to put and mark on here. So the pocket goes down about 3 inches. So I'm measuring 3 inches down from here and pinning. And that pocket, this is a zipper pocket, is 7 inches. So I mark 3.5 from here. And then I'm going to put a pencil line. That indicates where this zipper pocket is going to be. Because what we're going to do is actually sew the pocket before we sew the rest of the bag. That's kind of, you kind of have to work a little bit backwards sometimes. So that's basically it for the lining preparation, except for I have to prepare for the window for this. It's there's some 2 stays I got to make, and then I'm going to show you how to put the zipper on the pocket and the zipper on the top of the lining. Okay. Okay, actually I forgot to mention one more thing. For the pocket for this lining, you actually should make a pattern for that. This is what it will look like, but I'm showing you how to make the actual pattern. Because the way it works is this is going to be about like, this is the bottom of the pocket. So you have to make it a little wider than the length of your zipper, and double the depth that you want your pocket to be. So you just basically cross score your paper. Okay. And this is good to know to put in any kind of pocket to any bag. This is a standard thing, so it's really good to know how to do this. Check my score. Yeah, looks good. So I figured that I wanted to make the pocket about like 5 inches deep, and then since it's a 7-inch zipper, I allowed about a 1/2 inch on either side. So on the side, I'm just doing about 8 inches. So I pin it 4 inches from that center line. Fold and pin. Okay, so I can get this measurement. You know what? I think my paper's a little not wide enough, but let me just do it a little less than that. It's going to be a little less than, so I'll make it 3 3/4 is slightly less than that. Because you have to make sure you have enough paper going down. So there it is. Okay, now I just straighten that up. Okay, and I need about at least 10, I would say 10.5 inches this way, so I'm gonna fold it and measure 5.25 from that mark, from that middle. There's the pin, fold it, pin, fold it again, and then cut between those two pins. Okay, so that's the basic pocket. It looks a little bigger than what I had. Oh no, it's about the same. Okay, and then you also do your little notching on every little part that's symmetrical, just for alignment purposes. Okay, and marking this, I marked this. This is my lining pocket. Oh, it's a barrel bag, and you cut only one out of fabric, and your seam allowance is about 3/8 of an inch. So then that's that. Then I will next show you how this all comes together. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Oh, hi. You know what? Now I'm going to show you how to make the pattern for those windows that go in. There's a window that's going to go in the top of the bag. There's actually 3 windows top. And then there's 2 inside the bag. Okay. So this is what one of them looks like. Okay. But I'll show you how to make the pattern for that, because everything you do in a pattern, you really have to, do very accurately. And so the first thing, I'm cross-scoring the paper as usual. So these are standard. The only thing that changes is like the length, basically, depending on your zipper. So I'm going to, mine is going to be the basic, this is the 7-inch zipper pocket, I believe. Yeah, I allowed a little extra for the end of the zipper. So that you want to measure out 7 inches from that fold. So it says 3.5, and I may add an 1/8 of an inch onto there. Okay. Fold, pin, pin, pin. I think I basically measured the correct distance too, because it's about 3/8 of an inch wide. That's the opening of this window. Okay, so then you just draw your pencil line representing where the opening of this window is. Okay, and then you need your this part, the outside of the window. So that's about 3/8 of an inch. So you measure 3/8 this way, and I go 3/8 this way. Okay. I open, and then I can actually pin between these two, or cut between these 2 pins, because that's for the whole length of the window. Okay, and then the end, it's 3/8 from there, so technically speaking, you should pin all the way through. Then you have the perfect line. Okay, so this is a pattern for the window for the pocket. The top window would be the same thing, only would be 9 inches. This part would be 9 inches. So you can label your little pattern. Barrel bag. Lining pockets stay. And then on these things too, you really should put in your, this is 015 Bontex, so you mark that's for your production purposes. You mark also that it's 015, and you want the paper to bend this way, so you put also your little lines indicating that the paper should go this way. Okay, so that's the stay for the window, and that applies for any of the windows that you make. And Richard actually cuts out this little window, but you don't have to. I mean, on the pattern, it's better to leave it intact, because then when you're making this, you just trace it and then pin, and then you cut between your pins. Okay, so that's basically it for the window of the pocket. Okay, so I'm going to do the gluing part of the lining, and the first thing I'm going to do is glue put some glue right here on the top of this pocket piece. I already started to put a little glue. Oh. You should do this in a well-ventilated area, but anyway. So I already did a little bit, and it kind of dried already. Because all you do is, on this piece, you don't have to put a stay in there, you just fold it. And then the glue that's your nice even line. Your zipper is going to be attached to this. So here's the zipper. And the way it is I have to I attach this zipper to this part of it. So I'm going to be sewing that. You can either pin it or put a clamp on there. Okay, so I'm gonna sew this zipper part, and then after you sew the zipper part, you put this about here, and then you sew on the sides right here about a 1/2 inch, and you end the stitch about right here, because what you're going to do is you're attaching this whole thing to your to the window of your lining. So, but actually, before I do that, I'm going to do the rest of my gluing here. I'm turning this around. This window is this top window. You put some glue here. I've already put glue on my window stays. They're already glued. I should wait for these to dry, but for camera purposes, I'm going to go a little faster. And then, see, I marked where the window is. I don't know if you can see that. I used my silver pen, and I just put a line there, because you can just use that as your center line. Okay, and so the smaller one is the zipper for the pocket, and I measured 7 inches right there, so putting it right there. That's the one for the pocket, and this is the one for the top of the bag. And you align that. And see, it really helps have those little notches, because you know that that's the middle of the bag right there. Okay, and then you're going to glue all the way around here so that you can turn the fabric over that stay. So after you've glued that and you let it dry, then what you do is with your knife, your X-Acto blade, you're going to cut in the middle of that window, the fabric, and then you cut to about here, and then you make little triangular diagonal lines from the corner of the pocket to that straight line. So I'm going to do one of those. So you can use a straight edge, but I'm going to freehand this. So that's where you would cut that, and then from that corner you cut in this way. Okay, I'll do it over here. And you'll do it to that one too, but for this demonstration I'm just going to do it on this window. Okay, you try to wait for it to dry a little more, but it's a little tacky right now. But then you turn this fabric over that stay. See how that little triangle is there? I just turn that over there, and then you're gonna use your bone or your butter knife or whatever you have to use to turn, and you turn the fabric over that window stay. Okay, go all the way around. Okay. So it makes a really nice clean edge. Okay, so you do that to this also. And meanwhile, what I'm going to do is go over to my sewing machine. I usually sew the lining on my little home sewing machine because it's such thin fabric. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go over there and sew this on my home sewing machine. Okay, so I'm over here at my home sewing machine. This is the machine I had since I was like 15 years old. You really can do all these bags at home. This won't take a really heavy fabric, but for my linings, I use my little machine. So what I'm doing now is attaching the zipper to the pocket. So this has been glued and turned, and I'm going to place the zipper face up on that edge. You can pin it, but I'm just gonna hold it while I sew it. Okay. My zipper is actually a little longer than my pocket, but that's okay because you can always sew over that edge. So it's better to be a little long than short. Okay, so then this part you fold up, and the proportion is it's about like a quarter of the distance between here to here is where you put this part of the zipper. And but you're not sewing this down yet. What you're going to do is the sides, and you just sew the sides of the zipper, of the pocket at this point, about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. On both sides you do that. Okay, right there is when you start to stitch. Okay, so now you have this pocket that's ready to go to be sewn into that little window. So here's the window for the pocket. Okay, I gotta turn it this way. What you're doing now is sewing. You're placing this window over the zipper, and you have to flop this back. You can even pin it if you want. And you place your zipper in your window. And you can either tape it or tape or pin it down. Okay. So the first seam you do is the seam that's on the bottom. Caught up there. My material got a little caught up in there. Okay. So I'm doing this bottom stitch. Okay, so then you put you flip up this piece so that now you'll have that whole then now what you're going to do is sew the rest of the zipper around, so you go all the way around the other 3 sides. You may have to kind of walk this because I'm going actually through the zipper. It's a little tough to sew. Turn your machine, go around your corner. Okay, so I've basically sewn the zipper onto the pocket. And just cut your threads and so that's the zipper. That's the zipper pocket right there. Oh, actually, I have it turned the wrong way because it goes this way. It goes this way. Because this is the top of your bag. I should have already sewn this one on there too, but I wanted to just show you how this one was done. You're going to be attaching the other side of this to here, so you won't, see this part of your pocket. There's going to be a seam right here, and we're going to show you how to do that too. But basically, that's your zipper pocket. Okay, hi, this is Linda. I'm back. I did sew the pocket to the zipper pocket together here, and then while I was away, I actually finished one here and put the top zipper on here. So before I did this is what it would look like beforehand. It's a turned window, and the zipper gets sewn right side up because this is going to be the top of your bag. So all I did was attach the zipper. I sewed all the way around here, and then eventually you're going to put the leather part here with the applique.
Okay, we're back. What we need to do here now is, before I take you to our next steps, I'm really just going to show you the next steps. And the next thing I want to go ahead and show you is how you make your applique and put on your O-ring. We're gonna skive out and turn our window for our zipper dressing up here at the top to finish it off, and we're going to do our straps. We're also going to sew on our contrast, but in this particular design here, I'm just using it as another part, and you don't really see the contrast. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to have to prep my table and get ready for that, and then I'll be right back.
Go.
Right. Okay, the first part we're getting ready to do is we're going to prep our side piece and our appliques for our handle loops. And so what I've done is I cut some 015 Bontex, and these are going to bend in this direction, like this way. So if anything, what I want to do here is I don't want to fold that, but I do want to make sure that my shape is uniform all the way around. So whatever little trimming I may want to do, I'm going to do it now, just to get that uniform piece. So you want to do that to make sure that your applique is symmetrical. Okay, so we're going to do this because I see a little fuddy-duddy there. Okay, and that gives me a little bit better shape. we got that. Let's get that point off. And so you want to do that and make sure that they're the same. So what we're going to do is I've already skived this piece of leather. And there are a number of places, and I also think on the library, where I show how I skive leather. It's a really noisy little process. I use a Dremel tool to do it, but I've already skived it. And so what we need to do now is take our rubber cement, and I usually do this outside in a well-ventilated area because I am making these bags at home just like you are. So we'll try to stay as safe as possible from the fumes of this glue. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And let this dry like this. And give it a couple seconds, let it dry. And then in the meantime, we're going to put that up there, and we're going to put a little glue here too. And this is going to be our side piece for our top and bottom. And I'm just going to show you how to put it on. We're going to sew that on in a minute. And then we can go from there. So we really just want one edge. We're going to turn one edge, and then the other one is going to be our seam allowance. And I'm going to show you how that's going to go together. Okay. So this should be a little bit tacky now. So we're just going to go that back, and here, let me look at this one more time. I just really want to get that shape as uniform as I can. And it's really difficult to see on black. So I'm going to use my silver pen. Let's see if I can highlight what it is I need to trim. And I'm going to just go in there a little bit. Okay, I'm going to lay it down, and so we're going to lay that down and continue to glue. Okay, now with that being dry, we're going to come back over here, grab our bone, and turn this right here. Okay. And what we're going to do is attach. This is going to go like this. When we're through, it'll go like that, and that'll be our contrast or whatever you want to, but this is our first break in the pattern. So we'll put that to the side, and I'm going to sew that piece on, but I'm going to let this dry. This leaves me for a few more minutes, and so while I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm going to go and get a couple other pieces ready, and I'll be right back. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're getting ready to go ahead, and I'm getting ready to go ahead and turn my applique here, and I'm still a little bit concerned about the shape, but you really want to make sure that you try to be as symmetrical as possible when you're making these. And as you can see, I clip my leather because it's also better to clip your leather when you're going around a curve. So we're going to try to get that in there. Okay. And then of course the embossing in the crock sometimes distorts your fold, because that, if you hear that is my cat who has just walked into the studio. And that's Martin, and he had something to say that he wanted to get out, and I guess everyone heard that. But I'm going to go ahead and continue because we're comfortable with each other like that, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do this, finish my turn here, and that's what I got. And then I'm just going to get my scissors and click off some of this. And see, another thing you sometimes do here is that you can take your hammer and bang it, and that will make it flatter, and then you want this to there. See, and that's how that's going to fit. Then we're going to go ahead and stick our ring through it like this, and because that's the animal again, and and there we go, and that's our applique. We're going to go ahead and attach it. I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to go ahead and attach it. We're also, let me see here, we're going to go, I put glue on one side already, and here, let me put some more glue on it, and let that dry. And then what we do is we're going to put this piece here like this, and that's going to stay in place while we stitch right along here. And we're going to move over to our machine in a second. We'll let that dry, and then right here I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out real quick. Out real quick, and this is where our window is going to go. Okay, and we're going to put our stay inside of here, and then put our window over. And I'm going to show you how to sew all these pieces in. So we're going to move over to our machine and start to do a stitch. We're going to go ahead and stitch this, and we're going to go ahead and stitch one of our O-rings in place to show you how that's done. Now when you're stitching your ring in place, you want to take into account that this is the top of your bag, where this is on your bag. These are going to be, this is going to be your other another seam here, because you're going to have your bottom piece on here. And so this is going to, these are really going to be on the side of the bag like this. So you want to be conscious that you have enough sewing room. You want to be conscious that you're going to have enough sewing room here for your applique when it goes on. Now I decided with one of my appliques I was just going to do a raw edge, because I kind of like nap of the leather, so I thought it wouldn't be a distraction because it wouldn't be finished, and so I was going to do it that way, but I'll probably show it two ways so that you can see it. So we'll do that. So let's move to our machine and start to do this. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of things I want to go over before I started to sew. Actually, you notice that I did out my little clips, my little notches. This is like a 3/8 inch. This is 3/8 inch, and this helps me align, keep everything in its proper perspective. And so I did it here too, and I got to go do it over in the corner. And what we want to do here is just simply, this is our contrast piece, and this is my little cylinder that I'm using, and I'm just going to stick that right down there, and now I'm ready to go here. Got to keep it in line. Normally I use some clips, but I did use some rubber cement to keep it tacked down and in place, and so we were just going to do that. And this is my old Singer machine that I'm using here. I like it. It works. So, you know, old stuff works. I'm still working, so this just goes to show old stuff works. And so we're just going to go ahead and go down this line and stick it straight on there. And get it right there. And then back stitch, and that's that stitch. And you're going to do this for all four of the top and the bottom of your bag. You're going to be putting on these contrasts. And let me clip this down here. Get this out of the way so we can see what we're doing. And so you're going to be doing that, and this would have normally been your contrast, and then you just lay these flat, and if you want to double stitch them down here, you put a little stitch down here if you want to. If you choose not to, that's purely up to your discretion, but you kind of like just fold that out, and then you just go right down the line there and finish it up however you like. So you're going to add, this is my top, so I'm going to add, got this piece on, I'm going to add another piece over on this side. But before that, I'm going to show you how to put your applique on in this demo piece. And I made like a mark where I wanted this to go, and I just have to find it, and here it is. Let me see. Here we go, right here. This is my mark. Lets me know where I wanted it to go, and then I just kind of cover up my mark. Now I have a walking foot machine, and because this is leather, that's the one I want to use so I don't break a needle. But if you're doing this in fabric, you could use your zipper foot to get nice and close along this, and then go down and around to stitch this applique on. So I'm just going to try to do it here with my walking foot. And so I'm going to start out, line it up, and voila, and look, get it in there. Almost didn't make it. Let's see. This right now is sitting on that ring and giving me a little bit of an issue. I think I'm hung up. Oh, there we go. I think I'm out. And we're going to go around And if you get squeamish or nervous, just hand stitch it until you feel more comfortable. And then we try to go across it like this. With any luck, we'll make it. Okay. And we'll do back stitch. Okay. And we have it in there. And so I use the kind of black thread to let it show up, to show my stitch. And this is like my little piece that I just wanted to show you how to stitch it on, because I've already done this on another piece and I didn't have any more gold loops, so I had to use this. Hi, we're back, and I have a little bit of skiving to do. Normally I don't show skiving. I think I once showed it on something, another tutorial, but I think I need to go ahead and show people how I make a leather bag at home. And when you're making a leather bag, the difference between making a leather bag and just a normal fabric bag is really skiving. In leather, you're trying to get rid of as many thicknesses as you can. You want it to be very, very thin, and skiving is a way of actually splitting the leather, because leather is split into different grades, and each grade gets a different finish. And so what we're trying to do in an at-home situation is split that leather again so that it's thin enough so that you can use a home machine with a leather needle to actually make your bag. And so what I do, the normal Fatina skiver or something could cost you anywhere used from $800–900 to $1,500, and new up to $2,000. So for a home sewer, that may be a little bit expensive. So I've developed a method with a simple $35 Dremel tool and a sander. And I'm going to show you how we do that now. So the very first thing is, like, this is my little workspace. And so the very first thing is I just basically clip it down. Now this is going to be a little noisy, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of it, but you're going to be able to get the gist of what I'm talking about. And the other item that I use here is a vacuum, okay, to get the dust, the leather dust. So you want to have a nice vacuum. My vacuum cost me $49, and my Dremel tool cost $40-some odd. So here we go, and we're going to start now. Just one other thing, while I'm skiving this, I just wanted to stop for a minute. I wanted to draw what this is, the 020, and of course you know that this is your outside pattern, and your stay is going to go in here, and you're going to trace around your stay. Now what I want you to pay attention to here is the fact that I made my window right here, this little area here is going to be, what's going to happen is this is going to be split like down the middle, sort of like that, okay? And you're going to be turning that edge over the middle of this so that it's nice and clean. So when you're skiving, what you want to do is skive this area out, and you want to make this area thinner than the rest. Now you can skive the whole piece and make the whole piece thinner, that's an option that you have. But if you're doing pinpoint and dribble tool skiving, you'll want to just skive out that piece, because you'll end up saving a lot of wear and tear, and get the job done faster. You just need to skive out what it is that you need. You need the edges, because this is your seam allowance, and you want it thin, and you want to sew. And you want this middle right here skived out so that you can turn. You get a nice thin turn, and you get a really great professional look. So I just wanted to point that out really quick, and I'm just getting ready to get back to my skiving. So, okay, as you can see, I've finished my skiving, and as you can see how much thinner it is around the edges, and it's also going to be much thinner here in the middle when I want to go ahead and turn it around my window. And I've also clipped my edges, as you can see, and this is going to make my turn a little bit smoother and a little bit better. So what we're going to do here is just go ahead and take some rubber cement and put it on our piece. Whoops. And the great thing about rubber cement is that it comes off leather quite easily. It's not going to stick or anything like that. Stick on the back, but not on the front, on the finished part. So we're going to put our rubber cement down, and then we're going to put some rubber cement on our stay. Okay, like that, and then we're going to let that dry and come right back. Okay, so this is dried. So we're going to go ahead and put our window back in for our zipper and get that down. Now what we're going to do, here, let me do that again. Now what we're going to do is, oops, I just want to get it a little bit more even. There we go. Okay, so what we got there. And then we're going to put some glue on the top so we can turn. Okay, let that dry. We're going to give that a second to dry. Give me a minute to let that dry. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this window. And those are pretty much going to be all the elements of your bag at this point. We've done the applique. You should know how to do a strap. At the library I have how to do a strap. So we're doing really simple straps. So you should be able to go to the library and find out how to do a strap and make your generic straps. But I did just want to show you this in my skiving. And we're going to let that dry. And give me a couple more minutes and I'll be back. And we're going to turn this, and I'm going to show you where I'm at on the bag, the actual bag I'm doing, and we're going to pick it up from there, put it in the lining, and go from there. Okay, now we got our stay on there, and we glued it. Now what I got to do is get right down to the middle here. I'm going to make a little cut. I want y'all to see this now. I'm going to make a little cut, like a little triangle, coming from each corner. Okay, a little triangle coming from each corner till you get this little piece that you flip up like this. And you can see the fat on that cow. There you go. Right? And you do that like this. Oh, get it up. Get it in there with your bone, and then you take your straight edge, you line up those points that you made, and you go right down the middle like that. Then you're going to take your bone and you're going to turn it over like this. A little short. A little short. Guess what? We have to do this over because I'm a little short. Hold on. Let's stop.
Okay.
Don't you move. And so what we're going to do is turn this over our stay like this. Okay, so we're going to finish turning that, and then on the outside we're going to go like this. Okay. And we're going to finish doing this, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I've turned my little window here, my little zipper window, and I just want to show you the sequence of events that's going to take place to get our bag to where we want to go. Okay, now the very thing we're going to do here is this is going to fit over this, and I decided, as I said earlier, to leave it raw edges because I thought the raw edges would be okay on this particular bag, and I like the raw edge look. So I decided that I was just going to leave the raw edges, and then in the middle I have turned it all the way around for my zipper. Now Linda had gotten to a certain point with our lining, and if you remember, you have a zipper here that's basically upside down, and then of course you have your inside pocket that's already been done. So what we're going to do is take all of this, we're going to take our top piece and we're going to put it over our zipper. Now we have a choice of how we do this. We can put a little rubber cement down, hold this in place, and then make a stitch around, okay? Or we can take it and put the rubber cement down, hold that in place, put our stay over the top to finish our look, sew this down, and then you complete all the stitching in one stitch rather than having to do in two. So that's what we're going to do next. Now once we finish doing this, I'm going to go over and sew this. I'm going to actually just put mine in place, glue it down, and then come back and sew this in place. And once we do that, now we can really start to put our bag together. We're going to put our lining together first inside of this bag. Then I'm going to reattach my straps. Then we're going to, I'm going to reattach my straps, and then we're going to put our bottom on, then our sides. We're going to make a recessed oval circle here and push them into the sides, and our bag will be complete. So we're not too far away from the end. And so let's go ahead and do a little gluing here, put this in place, and then we're going to go ahead and show you how all of that, we're going to sew all that in, okay? So I'm just putting this glue in, and I just wanted to, this is rubber cement, and I just want to put it on there to kind of hold everything in place as I stitch. Okay? And then we're gonna fodder. We'll just put this in here. Get this right. Okay, cool. Okay, got that right. And then the next thing I want to do, I'm going to make two stitches here, one on the outside and one on the inside. So we're just going to put a little rubber cement all the way around it. The cement comes up quite easily, so I'm really not worried about the excess cement. Just don't want to get it on the black though. Okay, and let that dry. And then we just put this right over it like this, pull it up. And let that dry, and then we'll be ready to sew.
recording.
It's recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My first stitch, I'm going to leave this flat. And I'm doing this on my cylinder machine, but like I said, it's just because I don't like tempting my other machine when I'm going through thick leather like this. And a lot of this, if you see, I didn't if you skive this, then you can use a leather needle and go on down with a regular machine, but it's got to be skived properly or you're going to break your needles. There's just no ways around it. And I always suggest that when you're thinking of a machine, buy a walking foot machine. So at this point, yeah, I'm going to go a double seam all the way around. So at this point, we're just going to go ahead and sew this all the way around. And we're going to keep our foot right on the edge here and get real close to that edge as best we can without falling off of it. And this is where you really have to take it easy with your stitch, because if you mess up and it's a nice bag, you got to do it all over again, because your stitching really does show the quality of your work. So you want to learn to stitch as good as you possibly can. And that's why a $10,000 bag is hand stitched rather than, because you end up with a more perfect stitch. Okay, we're going to walk our way around there. Go over the zipper. Whoops. Whoa. And you want to make sure everything stays lined up. Like I got like off of just a little bit there. And now I'm going to have to get that out of there and get it back on alignment. We finally got it back. So I'm going to keep it nice and clean. Whoa! And that's about it. So I'm going to finish this going around here, and we got to keep it on there. And you can get too close. Don't get too close. Move your zipper out of the way and go around. Okay. And then a back stitch. And you got it. Okay. So I'm just finishing up my zipper here, doing the inside. I'm trying to keep it straight. I don't have a guide. In a factory, they would normally have a guide to keep things your stitch straight, especially when you're sewing this close to the edge of your material. But I'm old school and I resist those types of things. So we are doing it by hand, and as you can see, I did okay, I guess. But we're finishing this up, and then we'll start to put the lining together and have that complete, and then we'll do the rest of our bag. Okay, so that's about it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just sewing my lining pieces together here. Trying to follow my 3/8 seam allowance. And we're going to do this on both sides to sew our lining in. And then we're going to put our circles in to make our barrel bag. Okay? And that's one side, and then we're going to go ahead and sew the other side in. And then I'll show you how that looks. You got the scissors? Cut it off. Okay. Yeah, I'm just closing up my second seam on my lining here. And trying to get it to all hang together. Okay, let's see how it looks. And then we just got to put our little oval in it. My tension was a little tight, but it came out okay. Okay. And now this is how our lining looks. And so now all we have to do is put in our oval, and we're ready to go. And so you can see when you go in the inside of the pocket, the inside, you're going to have a little pocket on the inside that's all nice and finished. And there it is. Okay? So that's where we are, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to glue in and fit my circle here, and then we're going to end up finishing our lining, and our lining will be ready, and then we can attach the rest of the bag. Now before I go over to my sewing machine, I put a little of my rubber cement here. I put a little of my rubber cement on the outside of my pattern pieces, pretty much where I thought the seam allowance is. And now I'm fitting my outside piece to make sure that it's going to fit properly and not bunch too much. And then we're going to go over to my little home machine that I've had for about Linda's had for about all her life since she was in her teenage years, and we're going to go ahead and finish sewing this up. Okay, and so we're going to do that. Pucker where we need to. Sew this in like that. And then we're just going to stitch around. I already got this side in. And then we're just going to stitch around and close that up. And then that's going to be the pocket inside our bag. Like that. Okay. So we're going to go over there and do that. And then set up our machine over here. And we'll sew this. I'm going to show you how I'm going to sew that. And then we'll come back and attach these pieces here. And then put in our side pieces. Okay? We're just going around our piece here with my little singer. And sewing our sides in place for our lining. And keeping true to our seam allowance here. Trying to at least. We're going to go all the way around, and we're going to do this to the other side at the same when we finish this side. And adjust our zipper here, hopefully. I got enough room. Okay. Let me back stitch here. Okay. Okay, now we need to go ahead and pull up our sides here. I've sewn up one side. And again, like I said, I should kind of be using my flatbed for this, but I kind of like my walking foot so much that I tend to use it, even though it's a cylinder for everything. But we're going to try to oops. Okay. All right. We got that. And now we get a chance to turn it inside out like this. Okay. This is our bag. Let's take a look at it. Put down my foot here. Okay.
Go.
Well, we've sewn up our sides, and we've what we did was we went in and I don't know if you can get in there, but then I glued the little sides down, and then I banged them with my hammer to get them nice and flat. And once I got it nice and flat, I got a better seam going across. I wasn't able to double stitch the seam because I don't have the right machine for that. You probably need a post machine for that. But that's where we are. We've also put on one side of our recessed edge, our recessed ends, I guess I'll call them, our recessed bottom. I don't know what you call it, but our recessed sides, and that's in there. And what happens when you do this recessed sides, it allows you to have your finishing stitch on the outside. So even though you may have a flat bed, you can still put your foot down and go like this and go all the way around. So this bag can completely be sewn on your traditional flat bed. So now I need to show you how to make that recess so that you get that effect. And we're using the recess on the sides for a barrel bag, but this recess could easily be a bag like this. So when you look at me making on the sides, remember this is just the way you make a recess, anything. And we're going to go over that right now. Let me put the bag to the side and bring over the pieces that's going to make the recess. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and sew these two pieces together. We're going to sew two pieces together We're going to stitch them across. And then after they're stitched across, we're going to come back and fit them here. So let me run right over to the machine. It's just a second. And I'm going to sew that. What we're going to do, so what we're going to do is sew our ends together here. Okay, follow my seam allowance. Get my little back stitch in. Okay, so we got that done. And now we're going to go back and fit this to our round edge of our bag, ends of our bag. Okay. And so now we have a piece that looks like this, and we're going to bang these down so that we get a nice flattened seam like this. Okay. Now let's go back and fit it to our bag.
Yeah.
So now that we've sewn this, I'm going to take the last little bit of rubber cement I have, if I can dig it out of here, and then I'm going to just go right around like this with my leather, and I'm just going to do my fit now for my recess. Okay, I'm going to get that to go all the way around, let that dry, and then we're going to try to grab another last little bit of rubber cement, and we're going to go here along this seam allowance right here. Obviously, I got to run to my nearest art supply store and pick up some more rubber cement. Okay, so we're going to let that just dry for a second, and then we're going to fit this, and this is where your clips are going to come in real handy. Even though I got glue there, I still want a few clips there. I like to have my clips around. So give me about 2 seconds, let this dry. We're going to go ahead and fit this, and then whatever material this is, I want you to go ahead and cut a piece that's going to be about 3-4 inches long, maybe an inch square. It can be as wide as you want, and what you're making with that piece is you're making this cover for the break. See, this is where the break is, and so you're making that cover for the break. So you want it to be straight, a little bit straighter than mine, and maybe match up with your material if you want to, but that's what you're getting ready to make, is that break right there. And what that does is, this is where your break is, and this keeps the whole piece together and finishes it really nicely. Okay. And sometimes you can turn these pieces on the edges if you want it to look really nice instead of a raw edge. It really depends on what level of craftsmanship you want to put into it. So we're going to get this. It's still a little wet. I'll be right back, okay? Okay.
Go.
Okay, now our glue is dry, and what we did is we found a starting point, and let me find another starting point, and I'm just like looking for a center here. Fold it in half, you get a center, and I got a starting point, and then I'm just gonna put my edge down like this. And it's almost like walking it around, but it's not. Kind of like walking it around. And we're going to go all the way around it. I'm going to use my clip, but my glue is not as sturdy as it once was when it was fresh. Get that. I'm in trouble with this today. Then we go around. 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 Okay. Okay, okay, okay. And you keep working this around. And like this is why these clips is just a little bit reinforced, a little reinforcement for me. Gotta have a few more somewhere. And then when we get back to the other piece, okay, it goes we go under and over, get it flush with each other like that, and now we have our fitting, and we want to just take note, and it'll fit a little bit nicer than this as we go around where that is. Then you take a piece like this, and you're going to tuck it underneath, and when you sew around, you're going to bring this over and sew like this, and this is going to be your piece that you're going to, here, let me do it on this one. See, I can trim this a little bit, because I know it overlaps, so that I'll probably trim it here so that it's about this much that's overlapping, and this is where I'm going to put my seam. So let me go ahead and trim it. So my seam allowance there is a bit big. Let me go try it again. You can see it fits a little bit tighter now. Go. And that's our seam. And we pretty much got it. And then we're just going to go over here to our machine and sew this in place. And this is going to be our recess. And you can see the recess starting there. Okay. So I'm going to go over to my machine and sew this one. And I'll let you see that in just a moment. On here like this, and you can like just get it right up against your stay. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stop and back stitch a little bit here, because I want to stop right there. And the reason I want to stop right there is because this is where my joint is, and I want to prepare it. Okay. And so now I'm going to start right here and leave that little gap. Okay, we're getting ready to go ahead and complete this. And let's see here. Actually, I'm going to start from another direction. I think that's a better start for me. So let me start over. Okay, this sewing ain't perfect. So, but I want to get this right, so we're going to try. This way right here. And I just got to make sure that I stop right about here so that I can get this piece in. And that's really all I'm trying to do now, is make sure that I keep it parallel, the top parallel, so that it doesn't have a slant to it, and to get around this curve right here. So that's what we need to do. And so let's see if we can get it in there now. Okay. The whole thing is to really keep it parallel. That's the whole thing. Here, let me make sure. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure of something. Half of a second. Okay, so we gotta trim some more off of here. A little bit more. Okay. And then we're gonna pull this over the top. And I think we're ready. I'm going to trim this edge, this piece here off, so that I can put one of these on. And hopefully that's going to give me a little stability. Okay, I think we're ready here. Okay, we got that on. Now we've measured that out and we got our piece over the top. And I'm really ready to sew now. How about that? It took a while, but I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, so I'm sewing the last of, I fitted my my edge, and I'm actually just going ahead and sewing it in right now. And as soon as we're through with this, the bag should be complete. And so I'm going to go ahead and sew around, as you see me doing now, on my cylinder. And I'm going to go ahead and attach just stitch right across here for my straps, and you guys should know how to do that, so I'm not going to show myself sewing that. And that's about it, and I'll show you the final results in about, as they used to say, on 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Okay, and so I'm going to go on around. And this is like one of the advantages of a nice cylinder machine, is that you can go all around like this and stitch your bag closed. It's really cool. So that's one of the really nice things about having one. So anyway, I'll show you what this looks like in just a minute. All right, bye. We just got through sewing that bag, sewing our bag here, and we've completed putting in our side recesses. And as you can see, the bag came out really pretty nicely, and it's nice and symmetrical. The handles look good, and we were able to do the things that we wanted to, which was to get our applique around the top zipper here so it could be looking nice. We got our lining in with a inside pocket that came out really well. Linda was able to showed you how to do that. And this barrel recess side here could be a recess bag like this. So you can do a lot of things with it. You're not limited to. And we even put in a little, this was supposed to be a contrasting edges, but we ended up just making it a solid leather piece here. And we did our appliques to put our handles on, and all in all, it turned out to be a nice little class, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it and were able to pick up some of the points that I wanted you to pick up. And you know, if you have questions or comments about the class, just go over to the class page and look under comments and post your comment and question there, and I will answer it. So with that being said, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'll see you guys in the next class. Ready? Hi, this is Richard, and welcome to our barrel bag class. This is an intermediate class. I would hope that you've taken a couple of beginning classes before you've gotten to the point of doing a recess. There are certain things that I did not go over in this, and which will be making straps and attaching straps, because I think at this point you should know how you want to do your straps. This bag is basically teaching you, again, a recessed sides or bottom. You can turn the bag this way or on your side. It gives you a lot of options. It helps you keep on the edge. Your bag sits on the edge like that, or it can be round like this. So you might want a little recessed bottom as a style. It also teaches you how to make your little window here for your top. An applique over your zipper is going to teach you how to put your lining in a circular bag, which is a little different than you would do in a normal bag. We're also going to go over, we're going to make these little appliques for you and show you how to do that. And those are the things that you're basically going to learn in this class, and that you can apply to other bags as you go forward in your designs. So without further ado, we're going to go go make a bag. That's what we're getting ready to do. So let's go make a bag.